Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm James and also The Brink, and we are one. And today I want to talk about the new patch that came out for Steam OS, which is the Steam OS 3.2 beta patch. And before we get into that, I just want you to know at the very end of this video, I give a little bit of advice to people that are taping their decks. So please watch the whole thing and get that advice because I don't want you to fry anything. So before we get into it, make sure to like, subscribe, bash that bell with your crowbar. Now, let's get into this short update, but you know what? It's still sweet. Okay, so first up, I just want to, the patch notes do indicate how you can, get set into the beta channel for these types of updates. And all you really need to do in your Steam Deck is go to settings, and then to the system, and you can select beta from the OS update channel. It shouldn't be too difficult once you get the location down. And then it essentially lets the device then update based on beta instead of the regular channels. If you're now, be wary that it is beta. It's not alpha or anything. It's not anything, but it's still tested. It's just not, and especially at this like low of a level, there still could be some issues that are more serious than obviously the regular update. So just be wary of that. I just want to note there. Nothing too bad, I would assume, but I mean, I'm going to probably run in beta most of the time. But unless it gets kind of annoying, I've had some beta patches on other devices and clients that, sometimes they release an update that just really introduces a bug somewhere. So just a note there. Okay. First up, they added OS controlled fan curve to improve the experience in low usage scenarios. And this can actually help in a lot of games. I would even say from PC Gamer, I was reading an article on this, that it could even, like in Euro Trucker Sim 2, it was reducing the frequency from like 1,000 decibels, or essentially not 1,000 decibels, but essentially like what you could hear down to 290, which is quite a big drop. So you can't hear that whine so much. But that's with Euro Truck Sim 2. It's a weird one for them to test. It was at full load and everything. I think this is the best way to go. And I definitely don't recommend taping or anything like that if you can help it. I definitely recommend that you try to reduce the fan noise this way. Yes, it can increase heat on your device. And that is another thing I have to, I'll warn you about, is they did adjust in these settings. So I think automatically when you get this patch, when you go to play some games, it seems like it's pretty evident that definitely at those low to medium demanding games, you won't get nearly as much of a whine. It doesn't rev up that fan nearly as much. And so that's good. But if it's a really intense game, you could still get that high whine. And I wouldn't recommend, even when it's really high whine, reducing that fan speed too much. It's set at a pretty high speed to help cool the device, and with additional heat. And I don't know what Steam's really mentioned on this, but at a certain threshold, I'm assuming they have safeguards where they shut the system down if it overheats too much, but still high amounts of heat can still degrade parts of a device like this faster than normal. And I don't know, like, the longevity, like, meaning would it shorten your device's life in a by how much, but it still could. And so it's just a little bit of a warning on that. It's good to see this type of stuff coming out, but just be wary of causing damage to your device from heat. Components are able to, take this type of heat more and more these days, I feel like, than, decades past, but be careful. Okay. They fixed an issue where OS fan control would not automatically resume after waking up the device from sleep, which is, once again, a fan issue. I think they have a couple of issues with their fans and the keyboards. I feel like keyboards are a weird one. Even on mobile devices, I've had issues with keyboards. So these seem to be the two things that plague the device right now, is the fan and potentially the keyboard. But they are introducing fixes for both of these in this beta. And then they added the experimental support for changing the in-game screen refresh rate. The refresh rate will automatically be adjusted to a desired option when going in and out of a game. This is an interesting one. So the refresh rate on the screen can help reduce battery life. And I need to see some more hard numbers on this. There have been YouTubers that have done this already in Windows, but it looks like it's coming to SteamOS. So I'm really curious to see where this is going to kind of go battery life wise. But you have a range between 40 and 60 hertz that you can adjust it to with a tab. And then you also, with each one of those, you have steps of 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 4, meaning at 40, you have 10, 20, 40, 60 hertz, you have 15, 30, 60. And so that is, to be honest, that 40 seems like a sweet spot. I'm really curious if reducing it down to 40 and then also setting the FPS limit to 40 to see how that, like, how well that works as opposed to a 30-60 or a 60-60. I'm really curious. This is going to be one that I'm probably going to do a video on pretty soon once I get my Steam Deck in a few days. I'm really excited for this feature. This is actually one of those, I like being able to tweak my device to get the best performance. Well, it depends. If I'm at home plugged in, then I want the best performance. If I'm on the go, I want the best battery life. I want it to last as long as I need to for that session. So next up, they fixed the a couple things with the keyboard. One, the Euro symbol key did not work in the Steam, or at least there was issues with it in the Steam keyboard. So if you're trying to type in your currency with the Euro, you might have had some issues, which is a weird one. I didn't know how bad the issue was, but I didn't even know it existed. But it's interesting. It seems like the keyboard has a couple issues with inputting emojis too, right, in the Wi-Fi. Be interesting to see how they fix that. So they also added experimental support for bringing up the Steam keyboard automatically in some cases in the desktop mode. I read some stuff about like the Chrome and all that, and some people seemed like they didn't like it that way, and they wanted it reverted back to not being the Steam keyboard, but being the regular keyboard that was built into, I believe, the operating system. And so, yeah, that's the update. Now let's go into what I recommend. Do not use electrical tape to fix your deck. The reason I say that, unless you really know what you're doing, or like, if you want to take the risk, because I don't think short term it's going to be detrimental, but I do think long term, or if maybe that one session that just goes a little too long, could cause some issues, because we do have, I believe on the CPU, GPU, we know what that temperature is going to be, but we don't know what the temperature on SSDs are, and they can overheat, and on some other portions of the device can overheat still, and there's no temperature controls on those. So there might be some YouTubers that have done this and verified it, then that's fine. If you get verification that it works, then do it. I'm always wary of this type of stuff, because it seems to work, but then it can cause issues. And I'd rather have an official fix, like a new fan, or I'd even be down for more if there was like an issue with the fan itself that you could Dremel off a piece of the metal. I'd even be more of a fan of that than this, just for the sole purpose that this adds some weird insulary issues to the device. With that, seems like the update did potentially fix some of this for people. I would go that route more of updating to the beta and seeing if that fixes your problem for most of your games than just modifying your deck. So that's my advice. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Maybe you know something more than I do about this electrical tape stuff. I get a little wary when it comes to this type of stuff. Sometimes noise is annoying, but I'd rather have a functioning device over trying to fix it in this type of manner. Maybe my option is a little bit more extreme of Dremeling, but I think I'd rather go that route than electrical tape. People might think I'm crazy, but you know what? You can let me know in the comments below if I'm crazy or what solution you would go to fix this. I'm curious, and I want to know what you guys think of this patch. Do you like that we're getting all these good updates so quick? I'm excited as long as they don't degrade the performance and the experience by introducing new bugs with these types of fixes. Sometimes going too fast can be a bad thing, but in this case, I'm not seeing that. So it's looking good, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Watch my other videos. Check out my other links in the description below. There's also merch. If you want some merch, we have a merch store. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.